Hello, this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Today I want to show you Susan's telephone from California. This is an AT&T 5500 set, and it's got a cordless phone, and it's got a base with a speakerphone on it and a keypad there also. And I believe Susan's sent in another similar or even the same model earlier, and we repaired that and sent it back to her. And Susan has a note with this one, and she likes these telephones. I've worked on a lot of these over the years. They're very good telephones, and there's a lot of them still in service. So basically, on her note, she says she can't use a 7, 8, or 9 on the base and then hangs up on people. We'll check into the hanging up on people, but this is the initial checkout of this telephone. There could be a lot of reasons why it's hanging up. Might be a loose connection on the main PC board of the handset. Battery connection could be bad. Maybe stray frequencies coming around and knocking it out. I don't know. We haven't gotten that far into the checkout of it at this point. But I want to show you something. She does mention 7, 8, and 9 on the base. But what we're going to do, and this is the initial checkout, we're going to hit the telephone. I'm going to turn it down a little bit. And if you'll watch the analyzer, I'm going to walk through the numbers. Now we get to the 6, and that's where we have a problem now. 7 doesn't hit, 8 doesn't hit, 9 doesn't hit. Now you can see my modulation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello, hello. Okay. But 7, 8, 9, and 0 do not hit. Star and pound are fine. So it's at 7, 8, 9, and 0. They do not hit. And let's try mute. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, and the mute works. And then hold. I'm not sure. Let's see, phone. And then I don't want to get into the program, but let's hit redial. All right, let's do this. Let's dial. And none of that works. So let's go back to 2. We'll hang up. Phone. Doesn't look like the redial's hitting either. Off. Phone. Redial. So she's got a problem here in the lower half of this telephone. And there's some issues going on with that. Now, another thing I want to show you is she didn't mention the handset, but I did talk to her from time to time, and maybe she already told me that this handset didn't work, any of the numbers. But if you notice, I can access the phone, give you some dial tone, but none of the numbers are functioning at all. None of them. So I can't get anything out of the numbers. And then when you go to hit off, at first that seemed like I had to hit that pretty hard, but it seems to be turning off. Intercom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we know the phone, off, and intercom buttons are working. And it doesn't seem like anything else here is working. We'll try page. That's working. So anyway, we know the keypad's not working, and she didn't mention anything about that in the note, but it might be self-explanatory. we may have talked about that. I can't remember every single phone call, but anyway, there we go. But it's so difficult. At first, the Houston dial tone. At first, it didn't want to, and I'm having to press down. So anyway, that tells me we have a problem. I want to ring it. Give you some dial tone. Now I want to try to, okay, it dialed to 2. I'm going to speak into the handset. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll see, now it just cut off. So, well, we have a low battery, and it's been off a charge for a long time. So basically we're in the middle of just charging it up, and we're in the middle of a checkout here. So what we're kind of going to do is fade away here, and we'll come back, and we will have gone into this phone and troubleshooted it and gone through some of the problems, and it may be repaired as we come back, and I may be in the middle of a repair process also. So we'll be back in a second. Okay, now that we're back, basically we've gone into this telephone and started troubleshooting the keypad where the numbers were missing. I think it was 7, 8, 9, and 0. And what I found here was, in the troubleshooting process, a piece of tape that looked like it had a slice in it, and there was a screw underneath of it. So I'm not sure if this was like a factory attempt to make kind of like a security piece of tape, and if it wasn't together or it was taken off altogether, the factory wouldn't warranty the telephone or something. But what happened is the adhesive on the back of this tape that it sticks with, there, you know, that's a chemical, and what's happened here is basically it bled onto the PC board here. We'll get this out of the way. I'll remove that screw. If you notice here, the traces on the bottom part of this board are kind of blackish. And so what that tape has done to this board, these are conductive traces with drawn-on material, conductive material on the back of this keyboard. And if you see where this one's real dark, this one's starting to get dark, and this one is too. And this one kind of over here. This is all traces that go to the board, and there's little eyelets every once in a while that are copper, that take the trace back over to the other side of the board. And so what's happened is these conductive drawn-on traces they've lost their conductivity, and so this is the exact part of the board where we're having problems. So every one of these traces that run down that have turned darker are going to actually have to be repaired. Now I'm going to try to hold this. I have the meter sitting back over here by the video, and I'm going to touch this together, see if you can hear it. It's a high frequency kind of little noise. And so what I'm going to basically do is I'll show you. I get conductivity here. Try to get it on there. Now on this one, there's no conductivity. That trace is totally shot. Now this trace runs from here all the way down, and I'm going to try to hold this while I'm doing this, and I get conductivity here, but where it starts getting black, I don't get any conductivity at all. And we'll move over to this second trace. I get conductivity there. But the farther down I get to the eyelet, I get nothing. So really, in a sense, what they were using, it just seems like this is what they were using, this piece of tape, as kind of a warranty situation, where if that was taken off the screw, because it was right on top of the screw, what they were using for a kind of a warranty situation actually would have caused the telephone to need to be serviced. So it's kind of crazy. But we're going to get these traces repaired up, and then we also have to move into the handset, and we want to go we're going to have to test this base, make sure there's no other problems, or the crossover didn't cause any problems with a processor or some of the other components. So at this point, we have to take it one step at a time. We'll repair this up, get our numbers working, and if it's got more problems in the board, we'll just have to troubleshoot them out. Now, after all that, we still have to go into the handset, because in the earlier part of the video, we couldn't hardly dial out with this handset. So we still have to get into the handset and troubleshoot that and see what's going on there. Now, a lot of people would have equated, and I did too, kind of, that the keypad would just be dirty. But people try to, ask me questions all the time. This telephone is doing this, or it's doing this. And, if you would have told most people, that certain numbers aren't hitting, you would assume that it would be dirty. But that's why I try to never answer them. I always tell them, you never know what's wrong with these until you troubleshoot it. And this is a perfect instance for what I'm talking about. What you would have thought would have maybe been a dirty keypad, and this keypad was very clean. There's no spills ever been in it. And I actually even cleaned it to check it. And then, when I started seeing these traces, I wanted to troubleshoot them, and I knew right away that that's what it was. It's actually corrosive to the material here, that the conductivity material that it's made of, this adhesive, was very corrosive to it, and it just deteriorated over time. So you just can't narrow it down without troubleshooting it. You have to troubleshoot it before you actually know what the problem is. So I'm going to kind of take we'll come back in here. I'm going to repair them, and we'll start testing on them. So I'm going to kind of fade out here, and I'll be back in a second. Thank you. Okay, we're back, and basically what we've done now is repaired the keypad, and I'm going to kind of give you a little bit of a look, and then we're going to end this video, and we'll start another video for the handset. We'll basically have to go through the handset and troubleshoot it. But now what I want you to do is, if you watch the analyzer, I'm going to turn the telephone on. Give us a little bit of dial tone. We're going to dial our numbers, so if you watch the analyzer, you'll see that. Now 7, 8, 9, star was there, 0 was not there, and pound. So we're going to do that again. So all the numbers are hitting. I'm going to end in a 2. I'm going to hang up. Now, redial was not working either, so some of these keys over here weren't working. So now we know everything is working. And I'll walk through them one more time. I'll let that finish up. It'll end in a 2. Hang up, redial. That'll end in a 2. And you can see my modulation when I'm speaking. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hello, hello. So we know that this telephone may not have ended in a 2. We'll do it one more time. Okay, we'll let that end in a 2. Turn it off. Turn it on. Redial. And that ended in a 2. So now that, and I want to hang up. Okay, so now that we've repaired the base unit, we're going to put that back together again and get that all stabilized. And then we're going to go and do another video on this handset and go through it. This is Susan's 5500, AT&T 5500 from California. And this is Dennis with A1 Telephone Service and Repair, A1 Electronics. You can reach us on the web at www.a1-telephone.com, and you can also reach us at 618-235-6959. Before I go, I'm going to go ahead and unplug the unit, and I want to show you what we did here. We actually had to, now one of my traces ended up being a very small trace right here on the board, and I jumped on the conductive material side where our buttons are at, but I jumped here. I have a trace there. All of our other traces ended up being on the outside of the board like they were originally, and so all that, we had to actually go through the eyelets because I couldn't, the conductive material kind of was painted on and met the copper on the other side. So, you know, what you would normally think is you could scrape off a little bit of the material and get into the copper and then solder on the back side of the board. That's not how it went. So you have to be prepared for everything. We basically had to push through the eyelets and scratch their paint and stuff and their coating that they use on the dial side, and then solder up all of our connections on this side. So, you know, there's a little bit to everything that you do, but, you know, you have to be prepared for everything, and so we actually came through the eyelets. And then on this last guy here, we just jumped him here on this side of the board. It was such a small, you know, short distance, and it wasn't really in the way of anything, so we did that. But we used very fine trace wire here, and so that's how the repair went. And it's finished up, and we'll go ahead and stabilize the base, put everything back together again, and we'll do another video on this handset. Susan's Equipment from California, 5500 AT&T, speakerphone, cordless phone. It's a very good telephone. They've been around a long time, and a lot of them are still in service. And this piece of tape here is what it actually caused the whole problem. What they were using for a warranty situation, most likely, because it was over the screw that held this in, one of the screws, and then they had a slice in it, so that and that means if you put a piece of tape on there and then you put a slice in it, it's perfect. And if you take one of the pieces off, you never get it back together again like it came off. So they knew you would have been into it. It's kind of a poor attempt at seems like it's a poor attempt at a, you know, kind of a warranty, you know, to get out of a warranty kind of thing. It was kind of silly, but that's what it looked like, because I can't imagine the tape being there for any other reason. So thank you for watching, and have a great day.